Yo, 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 yo. What up, people? We're back. Episode numero dos. We got my man Mike here. He's in the building. Mike, what's up, brother?
How are you, Mike? Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks for coming, bro. I'm great. Living
Yeah,
life.
yeah, I'm super excited to be here. This is my first real podcast, man. So I'm super honored to be on your podcast.
You ready to make history or what?
Man, I feel like in my own mind I've been making it for a long time, but I'm actually excited that like I'm around guys like you and other guys that we ran into out in Arizona. But yeah, to answer your question, absolutely ready to kill it.
Love it. So let's start off by just a little bit of a description of who you are, what you got going on at the moment, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Termine. I'm originally from New York. I grew up just north of New York City, about 40 minutes north of New York City. I lived in New York City for a while. I actually studied theater, believe it or not. I was an actor when I was a kid. And then I kind of jumped around from New York to Los Angeles, moved on back to New York, met my wife, been with my wife since we're about 18 years old. Actually 13 years old, but we were on again, off again, and married for 21 years now, together for roughly about 30. Been in real estate for maybe about 18 years. Bought and sold a lot of property.
Love it.
Um, and never realized how wrong I was kind of looking at things.
You gotta explain it. What do you mean?
Yeah, so I kind of found myself. So I don't watch a lot of television at all, and I kind of found myself on the couch one day, kind of surfing through YouTube, and up comes Pace Morby, and I had an I felt an eerily familiar connection to what he was saying and what he was explaining, and I kind of knew everything that he was talking about because I understood what loans were, and I understand what terms were, and I understood what the interest rates were, but I didn't understand how I could leverage those for our advantage. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So I wound up sitting down on the couch for the first time for like 13 hours straight. And this was a few days before the 26-hour live, and then I made it through about 17 hours on the 26-hour live, and then I turned to my wife and I'm like, I'm going to Arizona.
Love it. So you're saying you were looking at the world differently as in the fix and flip and whatever you were doing in real estate before, right? You were looking at that world differently or everything differently?
So I was looking at the real estate world a little bit differently because I think we're all programmed to buy for cash and sell for cash. And once I got finished with that YouTube video, I then realized at that point that I will never buy for cash or sell for cash for the rest of my life. Um, I think, when you're new to this game, you get excited about the idea that you can make a large amount of cash in a short amount of time. But the real question is what are you going to do with that cash? Because if you don't reinvest that cash in a real estate and do it with loans that can serve you, it's very, very difficult for you to take advantage of everything that this society offers regarding real estate. So all of the tax advantages, obviously, as well as trying to build the generational wealth. So that's where I had kind of seen it wrong. I had always, if it were you and I 10 years ago driving in a car, we would both drive by the same house. If we both loved real estate, we turn our heads, we would see the house and go, man, we can make a bunch of money on that if we can get it for this price.
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of realizing that we don't even have to worry about price makes things a lot easier.
Because we got creative finance, right?
Because we got creative finance, and it's just an amazing, amazing tool that I never really knew existed. I knew it existed. I just didn't know how we could use it.
Mm. So backing up a little bit, before all the creative finance stuff, right? You had a construction company, right?
I actually still do. I hate what I do. I know that sounds crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pretty successful company, and when I say I hate what I do, um, I it really doesn't get me out of bed. Excited to get out of bed. I like to be inspired by things. This is not something that inspires me.
You
Um,
don't like swinging a hammer, bro?
yeah, so I don't swing any hammers and climb any ladders anymore.
What you used to?
I used to, yeah, yeah. I actually started out when I was young, kind of filling the gaps as a roofer, and
Mm-hmm.
learned how to roof before they even had air guns out, man. So yeah, but I got a construction company here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and
Mm-hmm.
it pays us well, and it runs on its own, and it's fantastic, but not something that really makes me get out of bed in the morning.
So when did you stop swinging a hammer?
So I stopped swinging a hammer, I want to say in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
2013, somewhere around there. I've never had a job. I've never worked for anybody in my life. Actually, I had one job when I was like 14. I was making pizza up in New York, and that was the first and last job I had ever had.
You were
Um,
swinging some za, bro.
yeah, slinging dough, making
I've
pie.
never had a real job either.
Yeah, I've never had one,
Well,
so
kind of.
I don't
We're
know.
just hustlers, bro. That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah, and with that kind of ride, you get some fantastic successes and some fantastic failures. And I think over the years, you learn how to kind of level that out. And for
Mhm.
me, that was right at about. So I had it kind of leveled out. I just stopped swinging hammers and climbing ladders probably 2012, 2013.
Okay, so there must have been some type of mindset switch, right? In
Yeah.
2012, I mean 2012 and
Mhm.
2013, there had to have been some type of mindset switch like, dude, why am I swinging a hammer? People need to do this for me. And I need to be doing some high level decision making or high level tasks rather than getting on my hands and knees and swinging a hammer.
Yeah, I think probably a guy like Pace could attest to this is that when you're in that construction industry, it's so difficult to find reputable help. And then when you find reputable help, and they're working with you for X amount of time, you expect them to know more than what they actually give you or show you. And for a guy like me who doesn't manage people very well, I would kind of get aggravated at that and go, hey, I mean, come on, man. I showed you how to do this 18,000 times. Why are you making the same mistake? So I've never really been very good at managing people at all. And in the construction industry, when you find somebody that works, you tend to not look for anybody because you found that one guy. And what happens is you find that one guy, you pay him more money, he's happier, but you're not getting any more done at the end of the day. So the mind shift was 2012, where I had found one really good sub who still works with me to today. And
Mhm.
I go out and estimate, and then I just give all the work to him. Him and his crews take care of it, and I work as the middleman, just like in real estate. So it's eerily similar.
Holy shit. So you're just getting all the jobs.
I go out and estimate once a week,
Wow.
but I have a very good reputation.
Hmm.
So, um, which kind of like leads me to believe, right, because of the way we kind of run this construction company. Um, and I know we've had this conversation before that if I kind of I make it very difficult to find me, as crazy as that sounds. You think if I was successful, I'd be advertising everywhere, and you know, I'll have so many jobs. I actually make it very difficult to find me, and then if you find me, you came through a referral, and if you came through a referral, um, I never lead with price, right? I always kind of lead with how I'm more of an it's really funny because they really connect the construction and the real estate, and the way that I think we learned in Arizona is that, you know, rather than trying to convince people to use me, I kind of educate people on what they need. I don't allow them to tell me what they want and then make them feel like if they don't hire me, they'll probably wind up making a mistake. So that's served me. Um, it served me well.
So probably 2013, you thought to yourself like, "Hey, my best abilities is going to get jobs, talking to homeowners, landing these jobs. Let me go do all that
Mhm.
while all the subs under me do the good work that they do." Right?
Yeah. Yep. And I've been very blessed to find one guy who's got a crew of 4. So I've got 2 crews. I've got one roofing crew of 7, one guy in 7, and then I've got I install like a lot of gutters and stuff, like 6-inch gutter work. I've got one guy with a crew of 4 attached to him, and him and I have been very, very close for the past 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of how I operate.
I love that, bro. It's just like you said, it's just like being the middleman wholesaling or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think again, like to kind of tie it into real estate after the mastermind, coming back and grabbing that book, Who Not How, on Cody's recommendation. I've since brought that back and tried to think of it a little bit differently. I knew that I probably wasn't the guy to find the who's. So I found a who to find the who's for me, for us. And so far, so good,
Love that. So let's bring it back a little bit, back to when you were slinging the za, right? Were you a delivery person or you were just making the pizza?
Man, I was so I was making the pies. It's funny because we would move around that pizza place. It was called the Corner of Italy. And
Mm-hmm.
we would move around that pizza place from the counter to the steam table to the ovens, or you'd go into the cold station in the back and make all the cold combos. And way back when, before you were even born, there was a little truck. You can look this up on the internet later on, called the Suzuki Samurai, and it's
Okay.
this tiny little truck. And we had this little Suzuki Samurai that we would deliver pizzas in. Yeah,
You would
absolutely.
go out and hustle. You would get tips and all that stuff.
Man, I had a paper route when I was young, when I was super young. My
So
old
you've been
man,
hustling your whole life. When you were a little kid, you've been hustling,
that's it. That's all I know.
and that's what brings you the ability to go out to a homeowner and lock up a roofing deal, right? Like it was rooted from the beginning.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You were out hustling, going getting tips from your paper route, getting tips from the pizza shit, all that stuff. You were building um, your abilities and building your experience and talking with people, negotiating, just building character when it comes to hustling,
I
right?
think I think that's why so many people in this industry find it so difficult, is because they don't have the experience. You just said it, right? Like the experience of going out there and actually talking to people and getting your ass kicked in and being told no and learning how to overcome that at a very early age serves people like in that mastermind. And that's why I loved that mastermind, because I felt like everybody, and I think I had mentioned this to you, I kind of equated it to like the land of misfit toys. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody in there was just a hustler, and it felt
Mm-hmm.
good, and it felt like community to me for the first time in my life. I
Yeah, because
thought
you're
it
like, shit, there's people out here that think like me. Like,
couldn't believe it. I was like,
what?
yeah, I was like, oh, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, no, it's so dope. It's so important to have that sense of community of people that are thinking alike and want to go in the same type of direction.
Yeah.
Because if you're just hanging out with a bunch of knuckleheads all day that don't really care, maybe you're hanging out with the people that swing the hammers, right? That
Mhm.
go out boozing every single weekend, that don't care about the hustling. They're just like, dude, Give me the damn hammer. I want to go work my 9 to 5. Give me the money. I need to go buy my Budweiser, right?
It's such a bad way to live. I wish more people
But
had.
some people like it. It's cool.
I know.
I ain't gonna knock it. I'm not knocking it. However, having a sense of those people around you that aren't doing that, that have a whole different direction where they're trying to go, your mind is just like, yo, it's like stimulated. It makes you do shit. So
Yep.
it's so cliche saying you end up being the people that you surround yourself with, but at the end of the day, it's real shit. I remember I was listening to Grant Cardone. He was like, dude, I didn't start really making money until I stopped hanging out with millionaires. And I think the dude's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I started hanging out with billionaires, and then I really started making some freaking money. Right? I started listening to billionaire shit, and then I really started making money. I was hanging out with millionaires. Yeah, it's cool. I was making millionaire money. I started hanging out with billionaires. Yo, my shit started going crazy.
Yeah.
So it really is who you surround yourself with is who you become. 100%.
100%. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for all the experience. I love hanging with all different types of people and all different places. And I mean, I was with a kid today, 27 years old, who's kind of like a little bit lost. And I remember being there. We had an hour and a half talk about, how sometimes it takes a little time to figure it out, and sometimes it doesn't. One thing you can't teach in this world is like fire. You know what I'm saying? Like something inside you that kind of really, really gets you up out of bed, gets you excited about things. That's something that I feel like you're born with, or maybe if you're out on your own at an early age and you are trying to hustle and you're trying to survive and live in any capacity. That's the real life experience that you'll bring with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, 100%. Love it. So let's dive into the last part of it, which is my favorite. Let's take Mike, right? Bring him in a random city that he has no connections with. He has $0. He's got to go make it happen. You got to go get to the point where you're at right now, whether it's you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go sling the za, but you got to go run it up.
Easy.
You got to go run it up an M. What are you doing?
Well, you better drop me in the only real city in the world. Now, I know you're from Boston, and you and I should probably meet each other in either Yankee Stadium or Fenway at some point. But I feel like you're going to put me in the only real city in the world, and that's going to be New York. And if you can make it there,
you can't have any connections. You can't have any connections or nothing. You have to put a city that you don't know shit about.
Oh, okay. So you want me to hypothetically? All right. So you can put me in. You could drop me anywhere, man. You could drop me anywhere. I'll survive. Put me in Houston. I've never been out there. I've got no connections.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to be talking my ass off about everything and anything. I know my ability to speak to people. I know my ability to make people feel comfortable. I can talk. I could talk somebody's ear off. I could also sell snow to a snowman. So I'm not really worried about getting on. I'll be getting on day one, doing whatever. I mean, it's funny because, like I said early on, right? Like, since I've never had a job, there's been fantastic successes and fantastic failures. And I mean, I was doing airport runs down to LaGuardia at 2:00 in the morning trying to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So like I'm walking in anywhere, I'm selling something. I don't know what I'm selling, but I'm selling something. Mostly I'm selling myself.
That's what it is, right? 100%. No matter what it is, you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
You could be selling pens. You could be selling papers.
Sell me that pen. Come on, you saw the movie, didn't you?
I did. I'm going to use a pull away. You don't want this pen, bro.
Sell me that pen.
Dude, you don't want this pen.
I do want that pen.
You don't want this pen.
Why don't I want the pen?
This pen cost me like 15 grand.
That's all?
Yeah.
Why did that pen cost you 15 grand? What's so special about that pen?
I had to cross like 20 different states to get this pen.
Which states did you cross?
I couldn't even tell you there were so many.
How'd you wind up with the pen? Who gave it to you?
A millionaire gave me this pen.
A millionaire gave you the pen, and what did he tell you to do with that pen?
He told me to go get some damn contracts.
That pen must have some special powers.
This pen is made like $100,000 in a month.
Okay, now I want you to send me that pen. You want my address?
Dude, I can't send you this pen. That was good. But yeah, dude, I love that. So I think Jorge said something along the lines of the same thing. He's like, I'm going to sell some shit, right? He was like, I'm going to go find the nearest insurance agency. I'm going to be their best sales guy. And I'm just going to go talk to people. At the end of the day, Brett Daniels, what does he say? TTP, talk to people. Just go make it happen. Go make some connections. That's what all this shit comes down to, is building those connections with any and everybody. Any and everybody that you can bring value to and they can bring value to you. You go make some money. That's how you make this shit happen, man.
Yeah, all day, every day. I'm super grateful for running into a guy like you. I knew I would hit it off with you from the beginning. The minute I laid eyes on you inside that room, I said, all right, I got to hang out with this cat for a minute. And here we are 5 or 6 weeks later, and I think it's the start of something awesome. I know everybody's got a lot of working for.
Well, before I let you go, where are you going with everything? I know as of right now, you have your construction company that you're going to lock up jobs and stuff like that, but you're also building a real estate empire as well. So do you want to touch on that before I let you go? Is exactly where you're heading in the future, and maybe in 6 months or something down the line, we'll have you back on the pod and see where you're at.
Yeah, I would love to come back and like track the progress, but yeah. So just to like recap a little bit, since I've been back, actually, it's funny. I was up at that first seller finance deal today. Just renegotiating the price a little bit because the inspection came back a little squirrely. So I was able to renegotiate.
Hold on. Just a backstory for everybody. This fucking guy leaves a mastermind. You didn't have a creative finance deal before, right?
Never.
Comes back from a creative finance mastermind. And I think within like 3 days, he hits me up. He's like, bro, I just got to sell a financing deal under contract. I don't know what to do. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's been 3 days. He's like, bro, I'm getting to it. So when this motherfucker says he's going to talk to people, he's going to go talk to some people and make it happen.
Yeah. So that deal actually got a little bit better today. So it went from 130 purchase. So we've got an ARV of 170. It was a 130 purchase price originally with 20,000 to the seller. And then like another 10,000 in rehab, and then like a 110 finance at 0%, 30-year AM, 7-year balloon. The inspection came back. It was 122 pages. I remember meeting the inspector in there. I go, listen, man, I want you to pick this place apart. And he went in there. He picked it all apart. Yeah. He picked it all apart. And I wound up negotiating the price down this morning to $105.
That's
$10,000. Yeah, $10,000 in cash. Another $5,000 in cash in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 in cash, but 18 months later on the second 5, 0%, 30M, 7-year balloon, same terms. Wound up financing 90,000. My payment is $250 a month. Now, listen, here is the coolest thing, right? Like, I know that sounds so fantastic for us, but here is a kid, true story. Here's a kid. His mom's incarcerated. He's got a brother and a sister who aren't on the best track. He's got a father that is supposedly in construction and did some of this work. And he doesn't get along with his dad too well. His mom left him $100,000 in cash. and he went out and he bought this house. And when I was renegotiating the house today, I turned to him and I said, had you cashed out of this house, I guarantee you, you would be broke in a year and a half. So I commend you for taking the deal the way we structured the deal. This way you can continue to get paid month over month. And here's what I'm willing to do for you. I'm willing
Mm-hmm.
to bring you in and teach you everything that I've learned. He speaks fluent Spanish. He's 27 years old and he's a little bit lost, but he loves real estate. So I said, hey,
Holy shit. So,
jump.
bro, like at the end of the day, in this business, we're solving problems no matter what, and we're bringing value. I think a lot of
Amen.
a lot of people give this industry a bad rep. Oh, you guys go out there, give lowball offers, and steal people's houses. But at the end of the day, that's not what we're doing. Listen to what Mike just said. He solved the whole entire problem and brought a ton of value and probably just changed somebody's life. So at the end of the day, that's what we're looking to do, no matter what. Any deal, I told this to Jorge, I think last week. Any deal that I've ever done brought value to somebody and solved some type of problem.
Yeah.
So Mike legit just changed some kid's life. One with the help of creative finance, which he probably wouldn't have been able to do. Like he said, hey, if I gave you 100 grand today, I don't care if I gave you more than the property's even worth. You're probably just going to go blow it and not know anything to do with it. We're going to go our separate ways, right?
Yeah.
Let's do this deal together. Keep you in the deal and learn from me, right? And now you're just getting paid over time rather than getting that whole big chunk of change, and then you're gonna go blow it. Now what do you do?
So keep your money invested. It's
Mhm,
safe, right? It's probably the safest place it could be because ultimately it's with me owning that house.
mhm.
He's never going to lose that money or blow that money, right? I mean, he's locked in. He's got his money safe inside of a piece of real estate, and he agreed with me. He's like, you know what? You're probably right. I probably would have blown through it. And I said, why don't we do this? Why don't you come aboard? We'll have a meeting. I'll bring you aboard and let's talk about some driving for dollars stuff. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, I got a buddy who's a realtor who doesn't like the real estate brokerage side of things. And he was talking about driving for dollars. And I said, you see, man, I go, the Lord is working through us both here. There's a reason why I'm standing in front of you and you're standing in front of me. And like to your point, Mikey, I would have never in a million years, if you would have told me 6 months ago that, hey, I can get sellers to finance me, right? Like purchasing
Mhm.
property, I would have said you're high. You're high.
Yeah, he's
And
like,
then
why would somebody ever do that?
why would anybody want to do that, right? And even though I probably knew all of the benefits of it,
Mhm.
I I've been able to put the benefits into play with a guy like this
That
who
just makes so much sense, bro. When you told me the story, when you just first told me, I swear to God, I got chills. I was like, holy shit, this is what this business really does.
yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
so dope.
And then so to answer your question about where we think that was a little bit of the backstory. So we've got that seller finance deal. I believe we've got our first wholesale contract coming in tomorrow morning. I've got another house I know I mentioned to you up on that west side of Charlotte. We'll see
Mhm.
what winds up happening. And moving forward, I am so grateful for you, for, for Jorge, for Krista, for Stacy, for everybody who's been like there to help me answer some questions because I'm going to build a nice little team of people and we're going to go do some damage in 2022. I can't wait.
Let's go, baby.
I
I'm
can't wait.
fired up. Thanks
I'm
for
fired
coming
up.
on, bro.
Yeah, Mikey, thanks for having me. I appreciate you and I wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate you, brother. We're gonna see you in 6 months and see you making a shit ton of money.
I'm not even worried about the money. I know the money's going to be there. I'm worried
Solving a
about
shit
the
ton of
process.
problems.
Yeah, there you go. I'm worried about the process. I want to get the process figured out and then that bag of money sitting at the end.
Love it. Thank you, bro. I appreciate your time. Appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Love you.
Love you too, bro.
Love you.